All right, well, that'll just about do that. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to Elm Creek Farm and Elm Creek B&B. This is episode number 26, and just dropped off some eggs and lettuce and tomatoes and some honey here to the B&B because, oops, wrong gear, Jerry, because they needed some, getting ready for a big weekend here. And let me get rid of that HUD, clean things up, get rid of that. There we go. All right. Well, we are in the same game day that we were in the previous episode, episode number 25. And you might remember, hopefully you do remember. If you don't, then you've kind of hit that old man stage like I have. But you might remember that we chopped the corn in fields number um, 2 and 3, which are combined, and then over here 4, 5, and 6, and left the corn here in field number 1, simply because out of these two fields we got almost 300,000 liters of chaff that we have in our silage plant, and it has been compacted and it is in the process of fermenting into silage. And one of the things that we obviously have to do, I might have misspoke when I was talking yesterday about coming in and cultivating this field, is when you plant corn, you do have to plow after each crop. So we're going to wait to plow this, at least this field here. Field 2 and 3 up there at the top, those are going to stay like that. I'm not going to mess with that field, but fields 4, 5, and 6 are going to get merged into at least field number 7, maybe even field number 8, as I had briefly mentioned in the previous episode. And we will wait to plow this until we get those sunflowers off and make a decision as to what we're going to do. Now, we have to, we have to think we have to think ahead. We're constantly thinking, not necessarily about today or tomorrow or even next week. We have to think about, next month and even the month after that, as we are planning the things that we're doing here on the farm. Because even though we still have crops that have not been harvested, we've got to think about our planting strategy for our next year, which would be our third harvest cycle on this map. And because we've got the opportunity even now to plant canola and wheat or barley. And so we're going to figure out how we're going to do that, where we're going to put those particular crops, those winter type crops, and we'll get those in the ground just as soon as possible. Now, and that might even occur before we do any additional harvesting. We'll just have to wait and see, but we don't have a lot of time on canola. We need to get that in the ground probably before the end of September. Um, Had Bo load us up. We are full of eggs, lettuce, tomatoes, honey, and we're going to move this up to the farmers market and sell this really, really quick. And then, ladies and gentlemen, yes, we are going to be harvesting grapes in this episode, so please don't bail on me just yet. You'll want to hang in there and see how all that works out, because this will be my very first opportunity to harvest grapes, to do that portion of the process. I've not done it before. Don't really know anything about the harvester. I have it. It's been delivered, and we will just start letting this sell here as I get rid of that HUD again, and hopefully we'll get some decent money out of this. Everything in the bed of the truck is sold, and the last pallet of tomatoes are on the way. There we go. $12,237 in sold produce. Awesome. Okay, let's get this back to the main farm at least get the trailer back to the main farm, and then we will head over to our greenhouse area, our greenhouse production slash vineyard slash soybean field, as well as what is going to become our expansion area as we kind of grow our operations. So let's just get rid of those lights and drop the trailer as it bangs down, and we're off to the races. Hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful day. I am just enjoying my somewhat pseudo time off in a sense. My wife is working this week, but we don't have a whole lot going on, and so not had to run a whole lot of errands and do things like that. We've got, as I'm recording this episode in the real world, it is Thursday, the 30th of December, so we're not quite yet. I'm not quite yet to New Year's Eve, even though you guys are watching this episode into the new year. I'm not there yet, so I'm still, I guess I could say, back to the future, right? I'm still living a little bit in the past from where you guys are as you're watching this episode. But yeah, things are a little bit slower this week. Not a lot of errands for me to run. Not a lot of other things that really need to be done around the house and such. I did have to do just a little bit of DIY. I had a light switch in my man cave, which is my studio that I game in and record episodes and all that good stuff. And I had installed a dimmer switch on it when I finished my basement many years ago. And the dimmer switch just essentially got to the point to where it didn't want to work anymore. You could kind of jiggle it and get the lights to come on, but then over time, especially a recording episode, as I'm sitting here recording, the lights are slowly dimming until it's almost just pitch darkness. And so I had been putting up with that for about a week and a half to 2 weeks, and finally was passing by one of the big box stores and swung in there and grabbed a replacement dimmer switch and then installed that recently. So that is good to go. All right, our grapes are looking good. These are just sweet and juicy, and they're going to make the very best um, jelly, the very best wine, and the very best raisins. And of course, we don't get the opportunity to make wine here on the map, but we will imagine that that's what we do, and all is good. So again, I don't know anything about this harvester. Quite honestly, it, I have no idea how it functions other than some of the basic stuff. We're going to unfold it, which I think just kind of raises it up, and we're going to turn the harvester on, and then we're going to proceed to our row here and try to straddle that row, and then proceed down the row as straight as possible, as not to knock over any of our well planted fence posts, and see what we're getting out of this. Now, again, know nothing about what sort of yields to expect. Our overall field health, if you want to refer to it that way, is 90, either 95 or 98%, and not real sure what I could do to really get that any higher. And I'm not really even going to be concerned about 2% or 2% yield loss. As I had expressed in several videos prior to this one, I had some difficulties mulching and cultivating the area in between, because the grass would grow back literally the same game day within a few hours after I had done it. I did come up here back in probably early August, maybe the first game day of August, and I just wanted to see, for grins and giggles, if I cultivated between the first row of grapes, if that would stay, and it did. So maybe maybe I was just doing it too early in the process and the cycle, but in any event, you know, it is what it is, and we're going to take off of it what we can get off of it, and take it over to the grape processing unit, the GPU, and you know, get the process started as far as making jelly, making making our virtual wine, if you will, and then of course raisins, and see how all that goes. Now, I did bring up the larger John Deere tractor um, to sort of cart the grapes from here to the GPU, the grape processing unit, um, simply because it got a little bit faster speed with that tractor. I'm not even sure, maybe that trailer could even be pulled by the pickup, but it looks a little bit too big and I didn't want to take a chance with that. So we've got a little bit more speed with that John Deere tractor compared to the little Landini, I think is what it's called, that we have here to do the rest of the crop functions with the grapes. Because I just wanted to speed up things as much as possible so that it's not so boring on you guys watching the episodes and all of that stuff. So 40, well, maybe 43, 44% yield or fill level of this harvester with two vines, 2 rows harvested. So I'm guessing that probably 4, maybe 4.5 will fill this, and then I think we've got 10 rows total. So I don't even right now, I don't even know how much that trailer holds, so I don't know if we're even going to be able to fill it, or just how many times we're going to be able to fill it compared to the capacity of this harvester. I'm assuming the trailer has a greater capacity than the harvester, considering that the harvester is kind of quite small. But we will just have to see when we get a little bit further in the process. All right, as we're going through these vines, I'm sort of having memories, real world memories of spending the summer down at my grandparents' house. I would go and spend summer at least 2 weeks, sometimes more, sometimes 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever the case was, down with my grandparents who lived north of Houston. And when I would go down there, my grandmother they had a fenced-in backyard. My grandparents had a fenced-in backyard, and in that fenced-in backyard, along one line of the fence that separated between her and her neighbor, she had grapevines growing, and we're almost full, aren't we? Here, so let's go ahead and should we back out? Let's back out so we don't knock the grapes off. Don't necessarily think you may have to do this, but I suppose I should have been paying better attention and emptied before I started this row, so we don't have to repeat through this again. But anyway, back to my grandmother. She had these grapevines growing on the fence in the backyard, and every summer I would go down, and usually I'd go down, a couple of weeks after school had let out for the summer. So we're talking like right after the Memorial Day holiday here in the U.S. And I'd go down there and I'd spend a couple of weeks, and because I would help, pick the grapes, and she would make grape jelly. And oh my gosh, that was just so awesome. Now again, because I don't know anything about this, I don't know where you empty from. Let's just see if we can back up to this trailer, see if this will work, see if we'll get our start overloading. Try that and see what happens. Anyway, back to my grandparents. She would make this grape jelly, and I would say that trailer is halfway full, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how. Actually, let's just see that now. It's better to know that information now than it is to wait and see what it is here in a few minutes. And it is 51% full. So yeah, so we're going to get not quite two full harvesters in that trailer. Okay, so what we'll do is we will, because we're at about 15, 16 minutes now according to my timer, we will harvest and fill up this harvester again, and then take this guy to the GPU, and then we'll call it a day. So we'll turn the harvester on and then head down this row and start harvesting grapes here towards the end. So anyway, pick the grapes. My grandmother would make grape jelly. I think she probably spent the better part of all day doing this. And my grandfather was a mail carrier, a mailman, and of course she and I would make these grapes together. And I think it was probably more her making it and me just kind of watching and maybe pouring in some sugar or something like that. And I was thinking. I was actually thinking about this last night because I knew that I was going to be harvesting grapes today in this video, and I was kind of thinking about that that time that I would spend with my grandparents, and just awesome grape jelly from her, and I really miss that, because you can't. There's no comparison to the homemade, especially when it's made by your grandmother or your mother or somebody that you care deeply about. There's just no comparison. You go to the grocery store and buy a jar of grape jelly, or jam or whatever, but it is just not going to be the same as when it's made by your very loving grandmother, and that was just really awesome memories. Okay, well, as we continue to proceed along our grapevine harvesting here, I wanted to give a shout out to a fellow YouTube content creator whom I've kind of gotten to know in the last week or two. Evidently, this individual has been watching the Grizzly Bear Sings YouTube channel for some time, and I just sort of stumbled on his channel, not really by accident, I don't think. I think I was looking around for videos on No Man's Land. I was kind of wanting to see what others were doing with that map. I don't think that I'm going to play it, as I've said before, but I was just kind of looking to see what others are doing with it. And his channel popped up as something to take a look at, and I did, and subscribe to his channel because I enjoyed his content. His YouTube channel name is Fury Machine Gaming. Fury Machine Gaming, and I will post a link in the show notes to how you can check out his channel, his content. He is producing Farming Simulator 22 videos on No Man's Land, and also on the very large 16x sized North Dakota map, Hastings, North Dakota. And just a very, very nice gentleman. And he had left a comment on one of my videos, because one of my Elm Creek videos not too long ago, and had said something about us old guys have to stick together. And I don't really know how old he is, what sort of age bracket that he slots into. Would assume probably close to my age, but he's absolutely right. Us old guys do have to stick together, and because there's a lot of younger people that are out there busy producing content on YouTube, and nothing wrong with that. And I'm sure that there's some excellent young content creators doing content on Farming Simulator 22 or American Truck Simulator or any of the simulation-based games, which I particularly enjoy playing those types of games. But he's right. Us old guys have to stick together, and I know that the majority of my viewers are also of a certain age, not necessarily retired like I am, but in your late 30s, 40s. Of course, some of you might be younger, some of you might be older, but in any event, yeah, we've all got to stick together. And I've really enjoyed his content. I've enjoyed what he is sort of planning for not only No Man's Land, but also that large Hastings, North Dakota map. And when I say large, I mean those fields are huge. And of course, it's 16 times the size of a normal base, say a base game map, and it is just absolutely huge. All right, so we are at 51%. I think that we're going to be able to get the rest of these remaining 2.5 rows into this harvester, and then get these into the trailer. Probably we'll have to make 2 trips because I'm guessing that we're going to have just a little bit left over. That's a little unfortunate that Giants would kind of make it that way, where it can't get 2 complete harvesters into that little trailer. I'm guessing that it is based on real world specifications, but I would think that if we're only talking a few hundred liters, then that would be fine to go ahead and make that trailer hold at least 2, so that you don't have to make a trip, piece of a trip. And I'm really not sure. I mean, for those of you who are doing grapes, did you put more vines down, less vines? Certainly, I would not want to do this, and I'm on the fence as to whether we're going to do this a second year. Literally on the fence, right? We will go ahead and cut these vines back and everything, and do what is necessary for that. But I'm kind of wanting to sort of testing the waters to see what sort of money we make off of the jelly and the raisins. But I'm certainly glad that we put down the number of vines that we did, because I was first thinking, well, maybe I would only put down like 2 or 3, but I think I would have been disappointed if I couldn't fill the harvester up at least once. Here it's looking like we're going to get very close to being able to fill it up twice on our little small vineyard, and I think that will give us a better test, better results to our test here, to see if grapes are going to be something that we're going to want to do sort of long term, or at least another season of grapes. Of course, we don't really have to do anything with them per se. We don't have to plant them again. We literally just have to come in here after the harvest, cut the leaves back, and then basically mulch and cultivate again as we did before, after we put the vines down, and then of course spray. And by the way, I only sprayed the one time, and it has always said 100% fertilization. So we'll see if we do grapes the second time around. We'll see if we have the same sort of results as we've had before, with only having to spray one time and accounting for 100%. Okay, 90%, so I don't think we will get all of this row in the harvester. We might, but I don't think we will. 93%. So we will go ahead and finish this row out, or fill the harvester up, and then dump it, and then take these to the grape processing unit, and then wrap this episode up. And I think I'm pleased. I'm happy that we made the decision just to lease the equipment this first time around, or at least lease the harvester. If this is going to be something that we're going to do again, did it knock those grapes off? No, it didn't. Okay. If this is going to be something that we're going to do next season, and maybe the season after that, I really don't know how long I'm going to play this map. To be honest, I'm still enjoying it, and as long as I'm enjoying it, then it certainly provides me reason to play it. So let's go ahead and back up to our trailer here and offload these grapes. Looking good. All right. So yeah, so we still have 200 liters in the harvester, and I would assume that, when we get back, we'll do this off camera. I'll finish up that remaining row, and then all will be good, and I'll update you about that tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to just sort of edit here and get us over to the GPU, and I'll be right back with you. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here at the GPU, and we are dropping our first full load of grapes into the grape processing unit, and we will look forward to seeing some pallets of raisins and some jelly coming out here of this facility, so that we can take those and further move those in the market. We're just going to sell. We're not going to further make additional things with those items. We will just sell them. Of course, some for our storyline, some will come to the B&B for our customers for breakfast and such, and then of course we will be selling, having the jelly and the raisins, and of course the virtual wine that we are also going to be getting out of that to our customers. Uh, and to you, I thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And I appreciate all of you guys for hanging in there with me, being part of my community, being my friends. And please do as I say. Please check out Fury Machine Gaming, and go over there, watch his videos, subscribe if you enjoy it, and tell him that the Grizzly Bear Sim sent you over. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching, and I will see you right back here for another episode on Elm Creek Farms. Bye for now.